Anything it takes. How about the solos on the Let It Be session? Were those just like right on the spot, or did you guys rehearse? How did you come up with those?
No, right on the spot.
Oh, that's amazing.
Was it overdubbed? Did the solos and Let It Be? Was the whole band playing together?
Everybody playing together.
Hey, Billy. I wanted to see if you can tell us a little about what it was like touring with Ringo, because I don't know about anybody else. I think you were the life of the show there.
Thank you. Ringo's another sweetheart. He's such a level guy. He's so easy to get along with. And he really cares about everybody, you know. He looks after everybody in the band. He treats everybody equally. He pushes everybody forward, you know what I mean? He loves getting up and coming out front, though, you know. He likes that. He really enjoys that. But he's a lot of fun to work with, and I'm looking forward. Maybe my tour next year, hopefully.
Billy, I have a few questions to ask
you. A few? Okay.
Yes, I do. Yes, definitely. Do you think George will ever make any more records in the near future?
George? I'm sure he will. He's probably recording now.
Because he keeps changing all the time.
Well, why not? He's a Beatle. What else can we do?
And I have one more question. The question is, do you suppose the Beatles will ever get back together again?
I wish they would. I really do. I really do. I was really disappointed when they turned that last bid down. I was really disappointed. I was hoping I'd get on that one.
Hi there.
Hi.
I was wondering how you first either met or got involved with the Beatles and or George. What's the story behind that?
That's a long story. Well, it goes back to 1962. I was on tour with Little Richard, and we toured England, and the Beatles were supporting act on the show. And we went to Hamburg, Germany at the Star Club. And that's where we really became tight, because we were there every day for a couple of weeks. And they used to always come backstage because they wanted to know about Little Richard in America. So they'd come to me and say, "What's it like?" You know. So we got close. I used to get them free Cokes from the club. Yeah. So that's why they remember me so much. But it was great. I always liked them when I first saw them in Liverpool. I always liked them. They were different from all the other bands. Their harmonies were great. They looked different from everybody. And I always knew that out of all of the other English bands that was on the tour with us, they were my favorite. I used to always go in the wings and watch them perform. And one night in Hamburg, I was standing in the wings watching. And George said, the organ was sitting there because I was playing with Little Richard, and he was the star of the show. So I was standing in the wings watching, and George said, "Come on out and play." I said, "Yeah." But then I thought, well, I'm playing for Little Richard. He's the star, and he'd probably fire me and leave me in England, you know. Which he did, no. Next question.
Hi, if your relationship with John went into the late 70s, can you give us any insight into John's life in the late 70s, since there's really so little we know about him? And if your answer is no, could you just tell us a really funny John Lennon story?
Whoa! I could, but I won't. No.
Oh, yes, you will.
No, but John was great. John was the boss Beatle. He really was. He was the boss. He was such a free spirit, you know. I mean, he made things happen. And, you know, it was never a dull moment around John. He was funny, you know, just a lot of fun to be around. I remember one time we were doing, I think it was the Plastic Ono Band album or something, and he wanted a crowd, you know, some people the same background, you know. So he told me to go to some clubs and get a few people to come over, you know. So I got in his Rolls Royce, you know, and went to the clubs, yeah, get everybody, come on down, you know. So we had a great time. I remember that. That was great. That was great. But John he was wonderful. He was really, really wonderful. I miss him very much. I don't think that he's gone. His spirit is still here. I mean, when he passed, when he passed, it was like they came to my house and wanted to interview me and all. I wouldn't answer the door. I mean, I couldn't deal with it. But he lived a full life, and and I'm glad that he did find happiness and love, in his latter years that he didn't have when he was younger. And just, I feel him now. He's still here.
Billy, I understand almost 21 years ago you performed on Saturday Night Live a song called Nothing from Nothing. Is that true?
Yes. It was actually the first Saturday Night Live show, too.
Hi, Billy.
Hi.
What moved you to write that song, That's the Way God Planned? I guess it's in the video of Bangladesh?
That was inspired by Let It Be. The song Let It Be inspired me to write that.
Was that recorded anywhere else besides Bangladesh concert?
Well, it was recorded at Apple. The strange thing about that session, because George and I produced that song, and George said, well, I just got over to England. I didn't know who was who. I just knew the Beatles. I didn't know anybody else, right? So he said, I'm going to have a few of my friends come to the session and play with you. So on drums was Ginger Baker. On bass was Keith Richards. Eric Clapton played guitar on it,
Hi, Billy. I was just wondering, I've read a lot of quotes by Paul McCartney on how he respects you as a pianist, and I was just wondering how you feel about Paul McCartney and what your relationship was between you two, and if you've seen him lately, or...
Well, I haven't seen him lately. I spoke to him. He called me. This was the gas. He called me, and he said, I didn't know you wrote the song You're So Beautiful. So I love that song, Huh? Does he own it? No, I do. No, but Paul was the most knowledgeable person of the band. I guess it's from his father, his grandfather that was in music or whatever. But he knew, chords and stuff, So he was the most musical one out of the band.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to know those new songs they just put out, Free as a Bird and Real Love. Did you know about those before they came out?
Well, I was on tour. Ringo was telling us about it and the whole experience of doing it and getting together and playing with John. It was really it was a very touching experience for all of them. Because they had to kind of get used to hearing him in the room with him. And so it was very powerful for them, and it means a lot, to be able to do that for them.
Also, I wanted to know what kind of stuff you listen to right now.
Do I?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, no. No, I still listen to a lot of Beatles stuff. Ray Charles is my idol, too. I like him. Still listen to a lot of Ray Charles.
I want to ask you a question. How old are you? How did you get into the Beatles? You're a Beatles fan, I gather.
My dad here got me into it when I was in kindergarten.
Do you like today's groups like Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, all that stuff? Don't even like that stuff, huh? All right. There's hope for our youth, right? Question. Another young Beatles fan.
What was John Lennon like?
He was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.